I'm keeping this review for the Super Mario Bros. Movie spoiler free. Although there isn't much to spoil with this because there isn't much plot, but more on that later. Because the first thing I want to talk about is the critics' reviews compared to the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which is kind of what everyone is talking about when it comes to this movie now. So the critics have it at 54%, which just means that half of them didn't like it. And the audience score is at 96%. So that means the people that are willing to take the time to go vote on it on Rotten Tomatoes overwhelmingly liked it. And I'm not surprised, because I think the critics sometimes don't look at movies through the right lens. Like, complaining about the plot, character development, direction, and all that for the Super Mario Bros. Movie is like watching an Ingmar Bergman film and going, where are all the car chases and explosions and there isn't any shooting and fighting? It just doesn't make any sense. And expecting that actually makes you stupid, not the movie. So if you couldn't tell, I fall more on the audience score side because I thought this movie was good and I had a lot of fun. And for what it is, I won't say it's perfect, but it's about as good as a Mario movie could be. Because the games, they don't have a plot really. They're platformers where you're trying to rescue a princess from a big turtle monster, and that's it. And that's what this movie kind of is. I won't spoil it, but Princess Peach isn't just a helpless princess in this. And I really liked that. I liked her character a lot. And Anya Taylor-Joy did a good job voicing her. I don't think it needed to be her. It was a little bit just generic, right? It just sounded like a generic female voice, but that was fine. Now, there was also a lot of people complaining about Chris Pratt's voice for Mario. And honestly, if I didn't know it was Chris Pratt, I wouldn't have guessed it was him. And there's also a really good way that they explain why Mario doesn't sound like he sounds in the games, with that super high, super Italian accented voice. I thought that was really clever and honestly a very wise decision because I don't think I could sit through a whole movie with that voice. It works in the video games because you could only hear him talk a few times. But this, it has to be a little bit more realistic, and the way they handled it, I thought was very good. All of the voice acting was fine, except for Jack Black stood out in a positive way. He was really excellent, and a perfect choice for Bowser. Because there are parts where he sings, and that's where it kind of reminds you a little bit more of Jack Black, is the singing parts. But the actual voice for the speaking parts was very good. And also Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, I thought was a good choice because, it's just kind of like a big dumb monkey. And his voice fit perfectly. I really liked the Mushroom Kingdom. Very colorful. I think that the mechanics of the game were done well here. Lots of stuff for older audience to pick up on. A lot of Easter eggs, which I don't mind in a movie like this because it's just a silly movie. But lots of nostalgic Easter eggs. Really liked how they incorporated the iconography of the games, the different characters. Even though I'm surprised a particular character isn't really in the movie besides a very quick cameo. But I loved all that. I loved the castles, the platforming, everything to do with the actual world. The only thing that maybe disappointed me a little bit was I wish the Mario Kart scene was a little longer, with a little bit more of the Mario Kart mechanics in there. Even though it would have been unnecessary, I would have liked to see more classic Mario Kart stuff in there. But that's a small thing. The music. I really liked the score. I liked how they took the old 8-bit themes from the old games and wove them in throughout the movie. With updated instruments, of course. It sounded really great. And every single time one of the old themes popped up, it made me smile. And they didn't overdo it. Now, what I didn't like was the use of the songs that weren't in the games, like the pop songs. They weren't bad enough to take me out of the movie, but they sounded a little generic, with some of them even used in other popular movies already, and I would have just preferred more of the classic themes from the games instead of the pop songs. But it wasn't terrible. And I also liked the ending. A lot of the times the ending can ruin a whole movie for me, but this was fine. I think it's appropriate for kids. The kids at my screening all seem to really love it. It's silly enough for even really small kids to enjoy it. Very colorful too. And there's enough nostalgia and Easter eggs and jokes for adults to like it too. and it's not very long because I wouldn't be able to take maybe 2 or 3 hours of this. So it's a short movie. I was never bored, and I think it really accomplished what it needed to do. Hopefully it's a big hit because I would like to see sequels for this. Overall, I would give the Super Mario Bros. Movie an 8 out of 10.